name is Jaelyn Brown. I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm the founder of the Julie B Foundation. The mission of this foundation is to raise awareness about sarcoma. It's one of the rarest forms of cancer out there, and we want to do that via community education and engagement, but we also want to build a personal connection with the cancer warriors and their families out there, and whether that be through emotional support, financial assistance, and scholarships for their children. We want them to know that no one battles alone and that we're here to support them. I'll never forget the day that my mom was first diagnosed with having the sarcoma in her knee. Before then, she had like a lot of pain in her leg, and some imaging showed out she had a fracture, and they weren't really sure why, and it turns out it was the tumor. It was the size of a golf ball. It was huge, and it was crushing her bones. So once they biopsied and found out it was sarcoma, it was very devastating. It was hard. Of course, she had to be started on chemotherapy, and once it got to an operable size, they went ahead and removed it. And because of the fracture and what they had to remove, she ended up having to have some metal reinstalled in her leg as well to be able to walk. And she was never really the same after that. It was really difficult. And just the chemotherapy itself, it strips you of everything. So just watching her kind of slowly deteriorate with that treatment, it was very difficult. And just starting nursing school, trying to support her emotionally and trying to kind of go through some of the medical things with her, it was definitely difficult for my family. We were ecstatic when we found out that they had removed it. They did say there was a possibility that it could travel to her lungs. But once she was 6 months without it, we were like, okay, everything's good. But then out of nowhere, it reappeared, and that was very difficult for her. She didn't want to go back on chemotherapy. She didn't want to, keep having all the doctor visits and everything. It was really sad, and it did make her quite emotional. No one ever deserves to go through things like that. Cancer is such a terrible disease, but just someone being so kind and so selfless to have to suffer, it was very difficult. If you're a loved one, if you're a cancer warrior, I want you to know that the Julie B Foundation is here to support you. You're not alone. No one battles alone. Cancer impacts us all. The services we offer are support groups. It wasn't until I was able to have a platform to navigate and explore my own feelings and emotions, I was able to even come up with starting this foundation. So I want to be able to provide that service to others so that they can process their grief and potentially create a service that helps others and turning their pain into something productive as well. And we also offer financial assistance, whether it be bill pay or scholarships for their children to continue with their academic endeavors. The negative socioeconomic impacts of cancer can have one feeling very closed in, but we want those children to know that we support them in their career goals and their academics, and this scholarship is to help them persevere and keep going. They should keep going, and we'll help them. There is a quote that reminds me of my mother, and it is, "Through the adversity that we face, doesn't have to define us, but instead sharpens us and pushes us towards our purpose." And what that means is that the negative experiences, the bad things that life throws at us, that's not telling me who I am. I define who I am. And I use those experiences and I build upon them to create something that's meaningful and impactful, which is what we're doing here at the Julie B Foundation. My mother battled cancer on and off for 20 years, but she still went to work. She still participated in church. She still raised her children, and she was a warrior. And I myself consider myself a warrior as well by being her daughter and by being able to create this foundation in honor of her. And it kind of reminds me of the bee, which is a part of our logo. Bees are so precious because they're delicate, they're resilient, but they're protectors and they're fighters. And that reminds me of my mom 110%. So I want cancer warriors out there to know that you're a bee. We're strong, we're resilient, and let's keep going, let's keep fighting.